we need to reconfigure how we look at education. And this is why Harlem Liberation School was born. We felt that in our community, when you say education, everybody immediately thinks, oh, we need African-centered schools and, after-school programs, and we need to deal with our children. We have to rethink this idea of education. It is not just something that's for children. It is not just something that happens in a school building. It is not just something that happens by certified teachers, family. Harlem Liberation School, therefore, was born in 2016 because we said, listen, our people have the right and out of necessity need to have a solid Black political education, family. We need to know what white supremacy is, how it exerts ugly influence and power over our lives, how we internalize some of its negative messaging and narratives, how we participate in self-defeating behavior on the basis of what we were taught and how we were improperly trained, and what we need to do to resist it. And not just to keep fighting white folk for the rest of our damn lives, family, but to build the things that our nation needs to survive and to thrive. Because you can get so caught up in fighting people, that's all you know how to do. Guess what, though? Once the fight is over, who's going to build the hospitals? Who's going to know how to run large-scale institutions and organizations? Who's going to know how to defend those organizations? Who's going to know how to govern people, how to write legislation, and how to mediate conflict without violence? Who's going to know how to do the engineering and the sanitation and the agriculture for our nation? Harlem Liberation School was born because it said, you know what? Our adults need to know foundational concepts and principles. We need to have a place, i.e. Harlem Liberation School, where Black people can come in, whether they call themselves Black or they call themselves New African or African. We getting through all of that, family. We pushing through all of that. Malcolm was clear.
What you and I need to do is learn to forget our differences. When we come together, we don't come together as Baptists or Methodists. You don't catch hell because you're a Baptist, and you don't catch hell because you're a Methodist. You don't catch hell because you're a Methodist or a Baptist. You don't catch hell because you're a Democrat or a Republican. You don't catch hell because you're a Mason or an elf. And you sure don't catch hell because you're an American, because if you was an American, you wouldn't catch no hell. You catch hell because you're a Black man. You catch hell, all of us catch hell for the same reason.
If you don't have a solid political education, if you don't know who you are, where you are, what time it is, how you're being oppressed, who's responsible for your oppression and economic exploitation, you're going to think that your people are, and I hate to hear this expression, our own worst enemy. And you're going to think that you need to be rising up against your own people, and you won't see the unseen hand that stirs the pot that's instigating all this trouble, not just here in the United States, but abroad, all over this world. You need a political education to understand who you are for real, not who you were taught you are, but who you really are, who you are and whose you are, what your mission or objective or purpose is on this planet. Self-confidence, belief that you have the right to be free and liberated, and self-governing. And you have the right to organize your people around those type of principles. And you have the right to protect yourself from people who hate the very sight of you. You have the right to do this, and you have the responsibility. All of these stances come from having a solid political education. We are being governed by people who despise us. And those people are the descendants, I must say, not all of them, but many of them are the descendants of the people that enslaved and colonized our people many decades ago. And we must never forget that. By political education, I'm not saying we teach our people lies to rile them up. I'm not saying that we just tell them to know what red, black, and green means, that we come from Africa and some of the Adinkra symbols. No, it goes much deeper than that. But at its basic level is, who are you? Where do you come from? How were you living before European contact? What were your values and your principles, your customs, your mores, and your norms before you even saw a white man? And so that's what Harlem Liberation School stands for. It help us to help the family, help us to reach Africans and new Africans all over the world. Subscribe to Harlem Liberation School, and please tell your friends to do the same. We should have 10,000 or more subscribers at Harlem Liberation School. People tell me all the time about the great work we do. Okay, if that's what you believe, support the great work we do. We're not even asking for money at this point. Just subscribe to this channel. Expand our scope and our reach. We bringing everybody through here to educate you, to get you involved in this Black liberation movement, to fill you up with pride and love and energy, to energize you, to get involved, to take your position, choose your lane and play your position, family, like your ancestors have done before you and like Africans who are yet to be born will do after you leave this earth.